Hey guys, welcome back to the Stillness Everyday podcast. Today I'm going to talk about something that's happened to me in the last 4 weeks that resulted in me losing that tooth. So I had a root canal fail. Root canal happened when I was around 15 years old as a result of a baby tooth that was a little piece was left in when I was real young. I had an abscess on my tooth, and this was, I believe, consequence of dry cupping. So this is the weird correlation that I had. So I ordered cupping so that I could do dry cupping on myself at home, and we tested it out. Most of them were fine. They were red, but along the top of my shoulders was really purple. The next day I woke up and my tooth was really sore, and I didn't really think much of it. I just kind of ignored it. And then the next day the pain went away. And then about 5 days later, when the swelling of my back went down again, I decided to do the cupping again, but like isolated on the spot that was really purple. And then just to see if it was still dark or if they believe toxins get pulled to the surface and your body can then deal with them. So I did that, and then it was still purple, and the next day I woke up and my tooth was just throbbing so much, and my whole face was just so much pain. I had a headache, and then it progressively got worse and worse, and then that night it was like a pain under my gum, and then the next morning it was on top and I had this big abscess. And then I put up with that for kind of like 3 days, and then I went to the dentist and they said that I had a root canal fail and I had to get my tooth removed and then just get a denture and then get a stump and a false tooth later on. Anyway, I booked in to get it removed, and then I did some deep diving into root canals and why this had happened, because I believe there had to be something correlated to cupping and the infection and then it just swelling up on my tooth and then having to get it removed, because I had no pain for the last 15 years I've had it. Anyway, so I watched a documentary which has been removed from Netflix because they believe that it was pseudoscience, or like the claims that they made were, they reckon, not true. But I have a conspiracy about that. So anyway, we watched it anyway, and there's all these doctors and dentists saying different things about root canal. But one of the main things they said that I thought was interesting was they tested something like 30,000 root canal teeth from people who didn't believe they had an infection. They just removed them in the 70s or 80s, and 100% of them were infected. And what they say is that when the root canal happens, because they drill out your root and then your canal of your tooth, and then they fill it up with whatever they fill it up with, it actually blocks your immune system from being able to get in and deal with the infection. And because you've got a dead tooth, your body sees that as something that it has to get rid of. So it tries to get in, and it can't. So the infection is in your tooth. 100% apparently of every single root canal teeth are infected, but your body can't get in to deal with the infection. So the infection will spread into your body, then your body can deal with it then, but it will never actually be able to deal with the root canal itself. And then eventually it will get infected after, they say, 15, 20 years, of which you can then do another root canal, or you can just get it removed altogether. The other thing they mentioned was that something like 93 to 96% of cancer patients that they tested for, this guy tested, I think it was breast cancer patients, 96% of them, if they had cancer on their left side, they had a root canal on their left side of their mouth, or right side, they had it on the right side of their mouth. So that was also interesting. The things that I noticed after removing my root canal. So on the left here, we have the cupping we did before I went and got my tooth removed, and on the right is the cupping the night of getting my tooth removed, because we wanted to see because we did 2 cupping and we got the exact same result, got the root canal removed, and this is the cupping afterwards. So you can clearly see the purple's gone from my right shoulder, which is super interesting. The other thing that was interesting is about 3 years ago, I went to a holistic doctor who he tested my blood pressure, and he said that I have the blood pressure of an obese person. He asked me if I had 3 coffees before I came and saw him, and I said I hadn't had a coffee. And then Alicia took my blood pressure a week before I went to get my tooth removed, and I was 160 over 80. And then after I got my root canal out, it was 120 over 60. My heart was working so much harder trying to pump blood around my body because it had an infection to deal with. So my theory around why they would remove such a documentary, this is just me going deep into the conspiracy of Big Pharma. Obviously, BlackRock and Vanguard Group own a monopoly of companies around the world. Nearly every big company you can think of, they own shares in. If they own Netflix and they also own pharmaceutical companies, and there's a documentary that comes out that explains that root canal is causing so many diseases. Like this guy who created the documentary had like 10 years trying to figure out what was wrong with him. He removed his root canal and all of the symptoms went away. If there is that much disease coming from your mouth on something so simple, that obviously dentists aren't out to get people, but if it's known that if it's not like taught or the information suppressed that root canal is actually so bad for you, imagine all the money as a result of these people with root canal in their mouth. Because if you're sick, you're obviously going to be buying more, pharmaceutical drugs. You're going to become possibly a cancer patient and need chemotherapy. Like everything to do with Big Pharma is to perpetually keep you on this cycle. It's not to fix you, it's to band-aid you. So if there's a documentary comes out and it explains it so thoroughly as to what's going on, because I don't think they're the only ones to ever speak about root canal. There's books about how bad it is for you. I just found it interesting that it got removed because they're saying it's not true. When I'm not going to say that my experience is 100% because possibly they're all coincidences. I don't believe there's coincidences. I think it's, we tested it twice. I did cupping twice. I wasn't doing cupping to try and find if my root canal was bad. This was a finding after looking at my back and going, okay, why is it so toxic in my body? And then testing it the moment I get my root canal out or the night of, and the infection goes away. So I suppose do your research in it. I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was worth sharing with people before you got root canal. If you do have root canal, probably get them removed. You look this good and then, you'll be healthier. Thanks for listening.